everyone, welcome back to my craft room. If you're new to my craft room, then welcome. Excuse my voice today, it's very hoarse, not quite sure what's going on here. If I'm getting a cold or if it's just the change in the weather. But anyway, I wanted to get to work on some of these cute little signs I want to make. I'm going to be using some of these boards that I picked up at Dollar Tree quite a while ago. These are 7.5 by 5.5 inches. You could use any wood. If you happen to have wood laying around, or get somebody to cut you a piece, even, at, like your Home Depot, Lowe's, that you can just get them to cut it for you. So it's easy to get this wood. But I had these, I figured I'm going to use them up. I got a bunch of these cute papers from Temu, paper pads. This one was in one of them, and this one was in the other one. I'll show you real quick. I showed them in my haul last week, but they're so pretty. Here's some of them. I'll just show real quick. I'll link them below, but it has just so many pretty prints in this paper pad. I just love them. And I don't know what size these are. Like I said, I'll link it in the thing here. They're about 8.25 by 5.5. And I know the other ones are 6 by 6 that I'm using, but look how pretty these different prints are. But I'll link that below the video here in case anybody wants to order that pad of paper. I forget how many is in there. And then this was the other one I'm going to use, is this Snowman. I thought that was really pretty. And that came out of this little 6 by 6 pad of paper. And they're just absolutely gorgeous. But I'll leave the link below and you guys can check out all the different prints on there if you're interested in those. They weren't that expensive and you get quite a lot of them. Alright, so first I want to paint my boards, is what I'm going to do. I have a bunch of other stuff here I'm going to use, but we'll go over that as we get there. You're going to want to sand these good. I just grabbed a piece of my handy dandy Dollar Tree sandpaper and just, I went around the edges, and right here's where that pesky sticker was. Didn't all come off, but I don't care because it's going to be hidden by the image anyway, so I didn't even really fight with that too much. But yeah, I just sanded them up real good. Now this one here for the snowman, I'm going to paint with this crimson red, the Waverly chalk paint. I'm going to be using these little chip brushes. I love these for this kind of a project. But I'm just going to give this one coat, and I'm making a mess already. Look at that. One coat of this red, and I'm going to kind of, dull it up a little bit because I don't want it to be bright red. And I'm also going to add a little bit of white to it to give it kind of a little aged wood grain look. But that's the color I'm going to paint this. I'll finish painting this off camera because, there's no need to waste your time watching me paint the whole thing. I'm not even going to bother doing the backs. I mean, you absolutely can, especially if you're going to, do it for a craft show or you're going to give it as a gift or whatever. Mine are just going to hang on my wall. This one I'm actually going to make hang, the one with the snowman, and then the other one I'm actually using to sit on a shelf, or you could use it on a tiered tray or whatever. I'm going to need another brush though. I didn't get my other brush out. But anyway, this is the color. I'm going to do this one here. So let me just smooth that out real quick. Just going to give it the one coat, because we're going to kind of make this look, it's like a little vintage paper, so I want to kind of make this look a little rusticy, if you will. I need another brush here. And then this one here, I'm just going to paint with some of this real brown color here. I don't have a nice color brown chalk paint, and I've tried mixing a color. I just didn't care for it. So we're just going to use some of this real brown. This is just, what is this? Apple Barrel Real Brown Indoor-Outdoor Paint. And I'm going to just give that a nice coat of this. And again, I'm just going to do one coat so you can still kind of, I don't want to get it on my red, still kind of see the wood grain a little bit on this. And then I'm also going to add a little bit of that, what color is that? Plaster color on top of this to make it more grainy or weathered, whatever you want to call it. But that's the color. This one's going to be one coat of that. And then when I get that on there, I'll come back and we'll do some of the white. Alright, these are dry. This I'm just going to leave be. I like the way this turned out. With just the one coat of that paint, you can still kind of see the grain of the wood. I was going to add a little of the white to this too, but I'm not going to. I think it looks good. Honestly, you're not going to see this much that much of any of these boards once you get all your image and stuff on here. But this one I do want to add a little bit of this plaster color chalk paint from Waverly. I'm going to use another chip brush here. I'm going to wipe most of it off, and I'm just going to use a little bit of it on the sides just for that little weathered look. A little on the top here. This doesn't work as well with that cut side, but just a tad. Not much at all. And a couple more strokes down the side here. And that's that. Now the only part of this you're really going to see once you get this image on here is maybe a little bit around the edge and then about right to here. So we're going to add a little bit of this white in here, just kind of dabbing it on here and there, just to give it a little bit more dimension. And I also think it's too bright of a red. So what I'm going to do here, let me see if I got that. That's perfect. Okay. So being this is a little, I know I keep adding more white here. I just kind of want this to kind of pop up here. Sides, I don't really care. It's going to be fine. All right, so that's enough of that. And honestly, if you want, you can just take your paper towel and, you know, not wipe it off, but it'll pretty much, you know, dry it up real quick for you here. If there's any, you know, like big glops that you don't want anywhere. All right. So that is it for that. Now, before I go any further, I want to put a hanger on the back of this one. So I'm actually going to use one of these, like picture, I'll get this paint off my hands in a minute, picture frame hangers. They're going to put right back here. I already measured it to the center. And then I have these little bitty nails that came with it. And I'm going to use my handy dandy little embellishment hammer. I think I got this at Michael's years and years ago. But I love this little guy for things like that. And I'm going to pause the video while I am banging this in here because, you know, nobody wants to hear that. So let me hammer these nails in here real quick, and then I'll come right back. Okay, that was so simple. I just hammered them little nails in there, and there you go. All right, so now to get our image on here, I'm going to be using some of the matte, which I don't use very often, Mod Podge, just because I don't want this thing to be like real shiny or anything. And this guy, he's going to sit right down here. And what I did with these, I didn't even tell you this part yet. I took those papers. Give me one here. Just these little, you know, papers from like Timo. And I just tore the edges like this all the way around. Except I didn't do the bottom because I'm going to have something go across there. All the way around. You know, just to give it kind of like that burnt look. If you ever did burnt paper with Mod Podge years ago, decoupage. I used to do that all the time years ago. I'm talking years ago. But anyway, that's all I did with that. And then I took some of the Tim Holtz Distressing Ink Vintage Photo. I use this for all kinds of DIYs. And then I just went around the edge because, you know, when you rip it, you have this nice white edge to it from ripping the paper. So I just went around with that, darkened it all in so it'll look much better. You don't want to see all that white sticking out. Actually, I still see some on this one. So let's go over that again. But I also think what I want to do here is take a little bit of this distressing ink and go over this red just to dull it up a little bit because it's just like a little too bright red. And like I said, I don't have to do much of it because you're not going to see it. It's going to be under the image. But maybe I'll do a little more on the corners. Oh, that looks cool. I'm going to do some down here too. This stuff is just so easy to work with. You know, you just put it on your little thing. I got all this stuff at Michael's too. The distressing ink, the little ink pad here and everything. So there we go. That makes that look a little more rustic and not such a bright as, you know, like the center is. You can really see the difference. All right. Now we're going to add our Mod Podge on here. Let me get that on. There we go. Put you back there. And he's going to go fairly close to the bottom here. And then like right up to about here. So I'll probably end up putting on all of it here because just to make the finish look the same. Ooh, that's really messing with my ink, but that's okay. That'll blend that ink right in there. And hopefully it's going to be the perfect color I want when we're all said and done here. There we go. Back up that way. All right. Now let's put this guy on here. A little too much I got up there on the top. Oh, I don't want that lump of Mod Podge. There we go. All right, now we'll take our image, kind of line that up best as we can. I think that looks good right there. Push that all down nicely. And this paper's thick. It's not real thin paper, so you don't have to worry about like getting a whole bunch of bubbles in here or anything. It's just going to lay down nice for you. Alright, so there's that one. I'm going to have to get a different brush because I got a lot of that brown. Oh, that's alright. This is brown. Alright, we got this image on here. Before we even get to our other embellishments, I'm loving the way that darkened up that distressing ink too. Let's make sure my edges are going down nicely. Alright, so now we're going to do the same thing on this one. This one takes up the majority of this one, but I want it down low because I'm going to put a little raffia and stuff up at the top. So we are just going to do the same thing here. Cover this whole thing with the Mod Podge. You can do the sides if you want to. I'm not even going to bother because, you know, it's already a matte finish, so it'll be fine. But I want this to all look, you know, cohesive on the top. You don't want one looking one color. And all right, just trying to do this quick here to get going here. There we go. Get those glops around the edge. Here we go. And then we're just going to add this pretty little pumpkin image. Perfect. There we go. Now we're just going to push that down. Back here, making sure my edges are all down. That's looking good. All right, these are going to be so pretty. Look at that. I love that image. Just want to kind of move this just a little bit more. There we go. All right. Okay, so we're going to let these dry here. And while these are dry, I'm just going to show you what I'm going to add. Now to this one here, I had some of these wood pieces. I also got these from Temu. Well, that one I just broke in half. From Temu. This is the one I already painted. I was going to show you an unpainted one, but apparently that one was cracked. I got a bunch of these from Temu a couple of years ago. I'm pretty sure they still have them. But I painted this, you know, with this green moss color here from Waverly, and then I added a little bit of the red, and then I used some of this, excuse me, my voice is awful, rose gold. I think that, you know, instead of just like another red or something else, a little different, kind of goes with the image a little better. So I used that rose gold metallic. Then I'm going to put this little thing up here. I have a couple of these little snowflake embellishments. These are flat back snowflakes if you want to look those up on Temu too. You get a whole bunch of them and they're very inexpensive. So I'm going to use 2 of those on here. And then on the other one, this one, I'm just going to use some raffia with a bow. And that one's just going to sit up nice on a shelf. But I'm going to wait for this. As soon as this Mod Podge dries, or I'll get my heat gun out here, one of the two, we're going to come back and finish these up. Okay, these are nice and dry now. You can put a coat of the Mod Podge over top of this if you want to. I did not. I'm just going to leave this the way it is, but you could if you want to. Even the matte finish tends to have just a little bit of a shine, so I really don't want to put that on there. So we're just going to leave this the way it is. Now, let's set this one aside here. For this one, I'm going to take a piece of this braided jute string. I get this at Michael's. It's in the ribbon section. I love this stuff. It's what 5/16 of an inch. You get 3 yards of it on here. I don't remember what the price was, but it does unravel quite easily once it's got a piece of tape on it when you get it. So I'm just going to start here on this very bottom and glue this one end down really good before I even cut that off. I want this right on the edge. I don't want to get it down too close because I want this to stand up nice. But now that that's glued down, I'm just going to go ahead and trim that off. Let's see, which way do I want to go here? This way. There we go. But see, once it's cut off, then these will kind of unwind a little bit. But I'm just going to put a little bit of hot glue across the bottom here, and we are just going to glue this down just so it's just about to the edge. Nice and tight. And you could go all the way around with it if you want to, but there's really no need unless you're doing this like on the standing one. So we're just going to glue that end down really good too. And there we go. Easy peasy. We love easy peasy DIYs. I know I do. But that's that. We're just going to glue that down and then we'll cut this off. And we won't have to worry about that unraveling. But look how pretty that looks. I love this stuff. You could put it on the top too if you wanted to, but I'm not gonna. I'm gonna take a couple of these little flat back snowflakes from Temu. I'm gonna glue one up here, like on each corner. So I just need a little bit of hot glue. Put one in that corner and one over here. That will look pretty. And these are kind of more of an off-white. They have really, really white snowflakes too. These are more of a, I don't know, just an off-white, I guess you would call it. I thought that would look better for this project instead of the really white ones. And then we're going to take my little sign here that I painted. And I'm going to put a little bit of hot glue here and there on this one. And glue this little baby down. Right here. I gotta move kind of quickly. I think that looks good right there. Perfect. And that is it. That is all. Whoops, I'm gonna need more glue on this one. It's popped up on me. Couldn't move quick enough for that one. There we go. Yeah, let me hold that down here a second. Yeah, look how pretty. Oh, these are popping up on me. I'm gonna glue. You know what? I may have to glue this on with something else. This is not wanting to stick real good, but that's fine. I'll just take a little bit of. Wow, that's not sticking at all to this Mod Podge, is it? No, it's not. Why are you being difficult? All right. So note to self. Like I said, I don't edit these things because then you guys know this hot glue is not really cutting it as far as gluing this little sign on here. So actually what I'm going to take is, let's see what I have here in my handy drawer, some of this Fix All adhesive. Get this at Dollar Tree. It's super glue, Fix All adhesive it's called, and we're going to glue that down with that. I know this will hold it. This stuff takes a little while longer to dry, but I know it's not going to come off. Just a little bitty dabs. I don't want this to really ooze out or anything. There we go. All right, back on you go. Stop giving me a hard time. Hold this up here, make sure I got it in the right spot. All right, and I'm just going to have to, since I put hot glue on this thing, it kind of made it go out of shape. All right, you know what? We are going to put a bottle of Mod Podge here and there to hold this down until that glue dries. All right, now we're going to set you aside. You go up there and dry like a nice little sign. This thing's heavy too. I'll put that on there. There we go. All right. Yeah, this stuff takes a little while to dry. That's why I love hot glue, but it's just not sticking to that really well. So, plan B. Alright, now for this one, I should move this out of my way. Over here you go and dry. This one, I'm just going to add some raffia to this. I just grabbed a bunch of it here. No particular amount. This is really long, so I kind of folded it in half because I want it a little bit thicker. Let me try to get this even here. I had it even. Alright, get back here. There we go. I'm going to fold that in half because I want this right up here on the top. So, hot glue better hold this on here. Alright, so, oh, you know what? Let me grab a finger protector so I don't burn my finger. So we are going to hot glue that right here. I'm going to let that hang over a little bit too, and we can trim that off. Just want to make sure I get glue on all of these. Hold that down. And then I'm just going to run this right across the top here. I just thought that would look pretty. Just for a little added something. And then I'm not even going to glue it in the center. We're just going to glue it right here to the edge. Oh, don't tell me I'm out of hot glue in my glue gun. Come here. Of course, because I only got one hand. Let's see if we can do it. There we go. We got it in there. And then we're going to push this down right on that hot glue. Get rid of whatever we didn't need here. And that will pull right off of there. Alright, so I'm just going to trim that off. So that's just going to go across the top there. And then I made with some of the raffia, where'd you go? Same thing, I just took a few strands, bunched it all up, and just made a little bow. Just a regular bow, nothing fancy. And then once you get your bow done, you can kind of pull some of this apart too. If you want to make it a little bit fluffier or whatever. I don't have any like small leaves or anything. I thought that would be cute too, or berries or something. But we're just going to add this right up here in the corner. I think that's going to look really nice. Just a simple little sign. And there you go. And that is it for this sign. That's all we're going to do. And I think this will look gorgeous. I think this is going out in my kitchen. On my one shelf, I think will look real pretty for the fall. But yeah, that is what I'm putting up there. And that's it for this one. And then this one will stand up nicely. I'm letting my bow cool off here so that doesn't come falling off on me. Let's see, how are we making out over here? This stuff is drying for me. All right, there we go. So that is what this little sign was, and that has my little hook on the back there. I'm going to let this sit a little bit longer with some weight on this here to hold that glue down, and that should hold that just fine. But look how pretty. Isn't that gorgeous? But that's it. That is my little projects for today. I'll set these up, take a cute little picture of them without, like I say, without all the stuff in the background. And I'll put it at the end of this video. But thanks so much for watching, everybody. I hope you enjoyed these quick and easy little projects. And I'll see you guys all next time. Have a great day, everyone.